Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to Why Not RV. On this week's episode, we're going to install the MicroWare EasyStart 364. So first, before we get started on this project, I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like with this thing running off just a generator. Now, most of the time, in a cooler weather, the air conditioner will start on my generator. I have a 3,000 watt generator, so it does start it most of the time. But there's been plenty of times when we have too hot of weather, when you really need this thing, and it just won't start it. It's just too much amperage to pull when it first starts. It just cannot get it started. So that's why we're installing the MicroWare EasyStart on this unit. The front unit is a smaller unit, and it starts it no problem. I've never had an issue with it. So we're starting off with one. I might eventually put one on the second unit just to help reduce on energy savings and whatnot. So let me show you what that looks like. With just the fan running, you can see we have 500 watts. Once the compressor kicks on, bam, it hits 4,500 watts and then tapers to 3,800 for about 2 or 3 seconds before leveling off at 1,600, which that's after it's completely started the compressor. So you can see that when we're boondocking, sometimes that 4,500 watts, considering this thing is a 3,500 watt peak generator, I don't understand how that didn't blow the generator just now and put it in overload, but it managed to work. But a lot of times when we're boondocking, that does not happen, and it will just cut off. Next, let's talk about some tools you're going to need. First, obviously, you need a MicroWare EasyStart. I know it sounds stupid, but you might want to buy one if you want to install one. I'm going to put a link below as to where you can get one. I got mine actually as a gift for my birthday from our dear friend Rob, so thanks again, Rob. I appreciate it. And if it works out real well, like I said, I might put one up on the front unit. But I'm going to put a link below. This is not an affiliate link. It's just a link probably to Amazon or something like that. Now, some other things you might need are a drill just for removing your screws. You're going to want a multimeter so you can test your voltage to make sure you're not going to shock yourself. You're going to want a pair of pliers for pulling some wires. You're going to need wire strippers and wire crimpers. Obviously, a regular screwdriver is going to be a helpful tool as well. So pretty basic hand tools, nothing too crazy. And let's get started. First thing we got to do is take this cover off. Now that we've got the cover off, I have all of our wiring and stuff over here, so I'm going to go ahead and move this so you can see what's going on this side. We're going to go ahead and remove this cover so that we can get to all of our electrical. Now this does have my wiring diagram right here on the side, so I'm going to use that diagram to wire up this EasyStart. The EasyStart is an extremely simple thing to wire up yourself. They have great instructions and great diagrams, step-by-step pictures for different models. They did a really good job putting this thing together. So this goes ahead and it exposes the capacitor. Make sure you can see that in the shot here. And the capacitor is what starts both the compressor and the fan motor. We're going to do some modification and changes to here and get this thing running. So let's take a look at it. While I have this apart, I'm going to first take all my wires off. I'm going to check my capacitor just to make sure that it is good. You have to have a multimeter that has microfarads on it, MFD, and that's how you can test a capacitor. So first we're going to take all the wires off of this, or I'm going to take it out so you guys can see it a little bit better first. So as you can see, it says that we are at a 60-10 microfarad capacitor. That means that the hermetic side should be 60 and the fan should be 10. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect all this and check to make sure that that is correct. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and test our capacitor. It's a 60-10 capacitor, so again, this should be 60 across to the hermetic and 10 across to the fan. So let's see what we got here. It's 60.3 to the hermetic and 9.89 to the fan. Now that we know our capacitor is good, I'm going to go ahead and rewire it. These 3 wires were to my common. I have the red on hermetic and the brown to the fan, and I can verify all that right on my diagram if you look at it closely. Now one of these white wires, I got to figure out which one, is what comes off the compressor and feeds over here. I gotta figure out which one that is. I'm just gonna keep these disconnected for a minute. Because this white wire here is going to be spliced into for the microware. So there it is. This is my white wire from the compressor. Now, according to my diagram, this gets snipped. And we're going to strip it back. And then on our microware EasyStart, that wire goes to my brown wire. So first I'm going to see if what I can do about this. I'm not sure. It's definitely not big enough to fit wires through, so I'm going to have to just go ahead and get the wires in here a different way. But actually, let's think about this for a second. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and get this wire connected in here. Tug test. All right, so now that wire is good. Now this white wire off the microware is kind of the continuation of this. It goes in through the microware and comes back out on this side. So now that's going to go to my common. I also know that my orange wire over here, based on the wiring diagram, is going to go to hermetic. So you can finish wiring this back up. Brown from the fan, red from the compressor, and our other two common wires. There's all that. The last thing I need to do is take this end splice, and it's going to go on with this wire, and it's going to go in line somewhere on this blue wire. This blue wire is the start winding on your compressor, and that's where it says it goes. So I gotta figure out the best way. It's gonna get tucked in here. I think it's gonna be easier if I just get rid of this thing, because then this whole thing can just tuck in, and this can tuck right back down. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, like that. So with that being said, I need to get my blue wire up here. So we're just gonna go ahead and snip it down here. So as I was making that connection just now, the wiring diagram and the cap didn't really add up. On the cap here it says C is W for white, R is U, I don't even know what the hell that means, and S is V, maybe for violet, or the blue one. And anyways, this was not showing the right color wires to the right things. So I went back to our diagram on here and came to find I was doing it correctly. I'm doing it right, but this did not add up. So always double check your wiring, make sure the wiring diagram, make sure it actually matches the wiring diagram, which this actually does. This doesn't. So now that I know that matches, we're going to go ahead and make that connection here. always do a tug test to make sure, because that connection to me did not really feel that good. So let's make sure. All right, they're all good. They're all nice and tight in there. All right, so to review our wiring here, the black wire from the microware gets spliced in to your common or the C wire off your compressor. In this case, it goes through an overload switch and then through the blue wire. This little brown wire jumps over. Doesn't mean anything for our purposes, but the blue wire is that splice for our black wire. What that does, I believe, is it is detecting the common wire on the compressor. You know, maybe it's amperage or wattage, but it detects some stuff through here, and that's what talks to your EasyStart. Then you got the white wire from the compressor, which is your R or your run, gets spliced into the brown, or butt connected into the brown wire from microware. Then where that went to, a new white wire from the microware comes out and goes to the capacitor where it used to go, and the orange wire goes over to your hermetic side. And that's it. It's pretty simple. So now we're going to go ahead and button all this up, and we're going to do our tests. Now that I got that on here, we need to figure out somewhere to mount the actual EasyStart box and route its wire loom. Alright, now we got this mounted. I do need to clean this coil off, but I don't have my coil cleaner. I thought I did. So we're going to go ahead and button it back up. You can access it from down below, as you can see down below. That's, you know, where you access your regular AC filter. So I'm going to go ahead and get some coil cleaner, and we're going to go ahead and clean that off at another time. Alright, so now our microware wire is nice and out of the way here. Box is mounted nice and tight. All my wiring's good. So the next step with this thing is to start this on regular shore power 5 times, waiting a few minutes in between each cycle so that the refrigerant can pressurize. And I believe that it learns what your unit does in those first 5 times. And then we're going to switch back over to the generator and show you guys what that does off the generator. So let's go ahead and get our cover back on. Now that we're all done on the roof, I went ahead and flipped the breaker back on, and we're going to go ahead and test the AC. We're going to turn it on and make sure this thing even turns on in the first place. Once it does that, we know that we have to let this thing cycle 5 times on shore power so that it learns this type of air conditioner. So with it on, we should have the fan come on here in a second. I had to make sure we had the right settings on, because that fan just wasn't coming on for a while, it seemed like. But the fan kicked on, so now the compressor should be right behind it. I'm going to go ahead and open this. Okay, the compressor is on. We got nice and cold air. I'm going to let this run for like a minute, and then we're going to go and turn it off, and then we're going to cycle it 5 times on shore power. So this is test number 1. Now that we have the EasyStart on, again the fan is at 500 watts. That's it. That was the compressor at 1600 watts. It didn't peak out at anything. It just went to its running amps. It never peaked. It never had any kind of influx. Absolutely insane, the performance out of that thing. I would have expected it to maybe drop to 2500 or even 2000, but 1600 watts, and now it's sitting at 1645. You know, it's just absolutely ridiculous what this thing did. So highly recommend. We love it. Well, there it is. You saw it for yourself. We originally had 4800 peak watts just for a split second, and then it went to 3800 for about 2 seconds, and then down to the 1800 range, whatever it was. And after the microware EasyStart was installed, it didn't even hit 2000. It went to like 1800 and then leveled off at 1600. It's absolutely unbelievable. Totally worth the money. I absolutely love the results of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put one on that front AC once I can buy one. But that's it for this week's video. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below if you want to learn more and make less mistakes while RVing. We'll see you next time. Bye.